International Harvester as a company, had a great. They had a great organization, a great sales organization, but had some fiscal issues for sure, certain. And through the late 70s and the early 80s, when the interest rates went up extremely high, put a big burden on any company that had large number of assets, and International Harvester just had a real problem. Eventually, International Harvester Company sold the ag assets to Tenneco, and Tenneco had a number of companies, and one of their companies was Case, and the Case brand, and so their plan was, and it happened, obviously, that they merged those two brands together to form Case IH, and that's really how it happened at that time. So we became a Case IH dealer because we were nice. We were selected. There was a process where some of those Case dealers didn't get the new contract. Some of the IH dealers didn't get the new contract. We were fortunate to maintain our contracts in our area. So.
That was what year?
1984.
Yeah.
Well, it was actually, the announcement was made in November of 84, but the actual transition on paper, so to speak, was February 1st, 1985.
Out of all of our locations, I think all of them were International Harvester.
Right. At that time.
At the time, and then in 91 we merged with Oakland Farm Supply, who had been the lone Case dealer who had then become a Case International.
Yeah, they'd been a Case dealer actually before us. 1947, I think, was your grandpa Quint became was the dealership, had the dealership there in Oakland, and still that same dealership in Oakland.
I think one thing that has over the years helped to solidify Birkey's reputation and success is how engaged we have been with our manufacturer, right? I think through all three of us, we've all been engaged with dealer councils and serving on different boards and committees that the company has had. I was on the dealer advisory board for probably the last 9 or 10 years of my career, as well as some committees prior to that, and served as the president of the North America Dealership Association for 2 or 3 years toward the end of that cycle. And I know you guys can talk about your engagement as well.
Well, I was president of the dealer council in the 80s, and then again in the 2000s, the period in there. And I know, Gary, you were on dealer council, I think, back in the 70s or in that period of time, in 80s, sometime in there. So we all, as Mike mentioned, we all had an active role in working with the company to better the company. We helped, and also obviously provide benefits for the dealer along the way. But that communication process was very, very critical and vital, and it helped us as an individual dealer, because we had those relationships with the top management of the company. I think that helped us a lot.
Yeah, a lot of dealers aren't necessarily in sync with the manufacturer, and I think the thing that I think I understood and we understood is they've got their business to run, we've got ours, and why we're joined as it relates to product and services and those kind of things. We each have different goals, and if we can respect those things and find some common ground, I think that's how we move the business forward. And I think that's kept us in a good relationship with the manufacturers that maybe sometimes other dealers don't have. And I think, to this day, I think Birkey's is a dealership they look at that is highly committed to, and they're very committed to us and our growth. And being that we are kind of a franchised organization and connected with them, if we hadn't maintained that connection to them and been in their good graces, a lot of the opportunities that we've had to grow wouldn't have come our way.
Right. The three-legged chair of the customer and us as a dealer and the company. We recognize that, just as Mike's saying, they've got their priorities and they've got to be successful. We've got to be successful. But if we are each keeping the other's goals and needs in mind, we can work together to satisfy and take care of the customer. And like Mike said, when opportunities became available to grow our business or add stores, they came to us first and to see if we would be interested in getting involved in it. And I'm sure because of the background that Mike mentioned and the recognition of those principles that he's talking about, it helped put us in the right position for them to call on us.
One thing you talked about in the case, how did we become a IH dealer from a case dealer? Before we got into really selling red IH type equipment, we sold a number of case tractors painted red. And during that period, they had a really blowout special on them. And we went to Marco Island, and we were 3 of our stores, Paxton, Rantoul, and Hubston. Out of the top 50 dealers, we were at 3 spots out of the 150, 100 and something dealers. But we could sell whatever, and we did. We sold a lot of those red case tractors.